He lured children with candy, approached women at train stations, spoke softly, looked harmless, and yet, Andrei Chikatilo would go on to become Russia's most feared serial killer, confessing to the murder of 56 people and convicted for 52. Between 1978 and 1990, he stalked and slaughtered women and children across Soviet-era Russia, leaving behind a trail of mutilated bodies and broken families. This is the chilling story of the Butcher of Rostov. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was born in 1936 in a small village in Soviet Ukraine during a time of famine, war, and fear. His early life was shaped by hunger, abuse, and trauma. He claimed his brother was kidnapped and eaten during the Holodomor famine, a story historians dispute but one that may have haunted him. He wet the bed until his teens, was bullied relentlessly, and developed what psychologists call psychosexual dysfunction, unable to form healthy relationships or experience intimacy. He later said, "I was a mistake of nature." In 1978, Chikatilo committed his first known murder, a 9-year-old girl named Yelena Zakotnova. He lured her into a shack, attacked her, and dumped her body in a river. The case was mishandled. A mentally ill man was wrongly convicted and executed for the murder. Chikatilo got away and learned a critical lesson. If he was careful, he wouldn't get caught. Over the next decade, he perfected his pattern. Chikatilo stalked railway stations, bus terminals, and markets looking for runaways, children, young women, or sex workers. Anyone vulnerable, anyone society wouldn't notice missing right away. His method was horrifying. He lured victims into forests or abandoned buildings. He would stab, mutilate, and sometimes cannibalize body parts. Many were sexually assaulted, even post-mortem. He often stabbed his victims over 30 times, a sign of uncontrolled rage and sadism, and then he'd return home, to his job, his wife, and his children, as if nothing had happened. By day, Chikatilo was a school teacher and later worked for a factory. He had a wife and 2 kids. His neighbors found him odd but harmless. This is what forensic psychologists call the mask of sanity. It's common among psychopaths. They mimic social behavior, hide in plain sight, and manipulate others into thinking they're normal. One coworker described him as soft-spoken, boring, and forgettable. That's how he stayed invisible. Between 1978 and 1990, over 50 bodies were found across Rostov Oblast and nearby regions. Each was killed with similar brutality, but police struggled to connect the dots. Why? Because the Soviet Union denied the existence of serial killers. It didn't fit the narrative of a socialist utopia. The idea of a sexual predator hunting citizens was politically unacceptable. Instead, innocent people were arrested, tortured into confessions, and in some cases, executed. Meanwhile, Chikatilo kept killing. In 1990, a sting operation finally paid off. Police noticed Chikatilo behaving suspiciously near a train station. He was arrested, but there wasn't enough evidence to hold him. Then came the breakthrough. DNA testing was still primitive, but blood enzyme profiling showed that Chikatilo's semen matched samples from multiple victims. He was arrested again, and this time he cracked. Chikatilo confessed to 56 murders, describing each in terrifying detail, sometimes with no emotion, other times with strange excitement. In 1992, Andrei Chikatilo stood trial in a courtroom cage. Literally. The public was so outraged, authorities feared he'd be attacked. He was erratic. He screamed, sang, even exposed himself. A calculated performance to plead insanity. But court-appointed psychologists deemed him fit to stand trial. Chikatilo was found guilty of 52 murders and sentenced to death. In 1994, Chikatilo was executed by a single gunshot to the back of the head, the last execution carried out in Russia before capital punishment was suspended. He left behind a legacy of horror, fear, and a justice system forced to confront its own failures. Chikatilo's case exposed more than one monster. It revealed how a broken system, political denial, and social indifference can let evil thrive in silence. He didn't kill because he was a genius. He killed because he was methodical, overlooked, and invisible to a system that refused to believe he existed. We remember his victims not for how they died, but to ensure they're never forgotten. If this case shocked you, share it. Understanding what allowed someone like Andrei Chikatilo to operate unchecked isn't about fear, it's about prevention. Subscribe for more psychological true crime breakdowns, and let us know in the comments. What do you think could have stopped him sooner?